as Bill Cosby's sex assault conviction has been overturned by Pennsylvania's highest court. Cosby's conviction was overturned after finding an agreement with a previous prosecutor that prevented him from being charged in the case. Joining us now for more on this is ABC News legal contributor Shauna Lloyd. Thank you so much, Shauna, for being here. So help us break this down. Explain to us why exactly Cosby's conviction is being overturned.
All right, so it's going to take us to take a step in the past just so we can fully understand what happened. In 2005, the DA at the current time made a decision that he didn't feel that he could secure a criminal conviction against Bill Cosby. So what he did was he negotiated a deal that said he would not criminally prosecute Bill Cosby. By doing that, it forced Bill Cosby to have to testify during the civil trial. The DA at the time thought that that was going to be the most and fair justice on behalf of the victim. Because when you don't have criminal charges you're not facing any, you then can testify in the civil trial. That deal was struck at the time. What happened in these recent 2015 cases is they went to those specific depots in the civil trial, used his statements to corroborate the criminal charges and get them in before the statute of limitations. The Supreme Court has essentially stated that the only reason he testified in the civil trial was his reliance upon that deal that they would not prosecute. His reliance on that should have extended because, as we know, the state attorney's office is an office. It's not an individual person. So that promise to not criminally litigate should have carried over to these new charges. And that's essentially the breakdown that the Supreme Court found. And they found that that prosecution violated the original agreement.
And so, Shauna, there were multiple accusations against him. More than 50 women came out with their claims against Bill Cosby. Some people will see him being let out of prison and think that maybe this means he's innocent. But that is not what this means.
Not at all. This isn't a question of innocence or guilt. This is a question of procedure. When the state attorney makes a deal with someone and they are facing criminal liability, the Supreme Court has essentially said that whatever deal they strike, they must stick by because this office is allowed to make those determinations and that they had to stick by the agreement that they were not going to prosecute based on this particular instance.
And so Cosby has already served more than 2 years of his sentence at a state prison near Philadelphia. What happens next?
What we're looking at is he's going to be released. He'll go back to living his normal life, and they will not be able to bring any additional charges for these, and they're barred from bringing them as per the Supreme Court order.
And so if they're barred from bringing them, what does that mean for survivors that came forward? He can't be tried again for these same crimes, correct?
That is correct. And unfortunately for the survivors, that means that they are barred from actually looking for any sort of criminal prosecution in these cases. Unless there was a new case that should happen, there's not going to be criminal charges that will be brought. The only time he'll serve is what he's already served.
All right, Shauna. Development, and an important one really for the whole country given the level of fame and impact that Bill Cosby has had on our culture. And I want to bring in one of Bill Cosby's former lawyers. Tom Mesereau is with us, a legal ace out of Los Angeles. So just first, thanks for being with us. And what's your reaction? What was your reaction when you heard that the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania had overturned Bill Cosby's conviction?
I'm ecstatic. It's a great day for the Cosby family and a great day for justice. This case should never have been brought against Mr. Cosby. He should never have been put through 2 trials. Fortunately, we have a very courageous, highly intelligent Pennsylvania Supreme Court that has just done the right thing.
Well, let's talk about that. We've heard a little bit of a description of it. What did the original prosecutor, Bruce Castor, who was the district attorney in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, what did he do with Bill Cosby, bringing him in? What did he do that the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania has found essentially made trying and convicting him in the trial impossible, unconstitutional?
He made a binding agreement, a binding commitment not to prosecute Mr. Cosby, and insisted in return that Mr. Cosby litigate his civil action. And Mr. Cosby and his lawyers relied on this binding commitment by the district attorney not to prosecute him. Unfortunately, politics got in the way, and another district attorney then was elected, and he decided to try and throw out the agreement Mr. Castor had entered into. Now, prosecutors have a lot of power, they have a lot of influence, and they're held to a very high ethical standard. And the Pennsylvania Supreme Court basically said Mr. Castor made an agreement, Mr. Cosby relied on the agreement, and he should never have been prosecuted.
And that original agreement with Bruce Castor, it sounds like an unusual exercise of prosecutorial authority to say, well, I'm not going to be able to prosecute this in a criminal case to my satisfaction. I think the civil case is the right way to go, and I'm going to call in Bill Cosby to answer questions. And there was no written immunity agreement, and the whole thing seems to have been botched by the prosecutors. Is that your read?
No, it was not botched by the prosecutors. I think Mr. Castor is a very bright prosecutor, a very bright lawyer. He knew exactly what he was doing. He determined there wasn't enough evidence to go forward with a criminal case beyond a reasonable doubt, and he left it to the civil courts. And by the way, this happens all the time. There are many situations all across the country where prosecutors will say, we don't have the proof beyond a reasonable doubt to bring a criminal case, leave it to the civil court. So I don't think it was unusual at all. What was unusual was that the next DA decided to scuttle the agreement and put Mr. Cosby through a living nightmare, which fortunately he's prevailed upon. I mean, Mr. Cosby is a man of character, a man of conviction. He refused to admit that he had done something that he says he didn't do. He refused to try and get out on parole if it meant admitting something he says he can't admit. And fortunately, justice has been done and he's been released.
Well, Bill Cosby is also a man against whom more than 60 women have come forward, and in vivid details that match across decades have alleged sexual crimes committed against them by Bill Cosby with the use of drugs and other things. So one of the reasons, obviously, that the prosecutor in Pennsylvania decided to go forward was because of the courage of these women who came forward, the character of these women who came forward. This is a hard day for them, isn't it?
I won't speak for them. I will tell you that none of these allegations resulted in criminal charges. We have a criminal justice system where everybody is supposed to be treated equally, no matter your celebrity status, your race, your political status, whatever it may be. And Mr. Cosby was grossly mistreated by the system. And fortunately, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court had the integrity and the courage and the intelligence to do what's right. So Mr. Cosby is free. It's a great day for the Cosby family and a great day for justice.
Well, there's no question the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania has vindicated Bill Cosby's legal rights, but he is not exonerated, is he? The statements of those women, many taken under oath on affidavit, and all of them matching a pattern and practice that they allege against Bill Cosby that wasn't invented out of whole cloth, it would seem. I mean, this is, as you say, a victory for the law, but the facts as alleged by 60 women plus who came forward to accuse him of these crimes, of these actions, that remains.
Show me one of these accusations that ever became a criminal prosecution. You can't find one. It's a great day for Mr. Cosby, and he's been vindicated.
Right. Well, one of the reasons is this, they date to 1965, and the statute of limitations on some of these is as short as 12 years. But Tom Mesereau, thank you for helping us understand the law and the case from the perspective of the Cosby side. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.